Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Let me just build on what my colleague, Senator Schiff, has said so well. What ought to concern us on this committee what should concern us on this committee, and we have a very proud tradition on the Judiciary Committee of the United States Senate of responsibly scrutinizing nominees for United States attorney positions and judgeships, is what we don't know about these nominees and what we haven't had the opportunity to ask, such as the questions for the record that Jeanine Pirro has refused to answer. We should be having a hearing with her, asking her why she was regarded as crazy, asking her why she advocated that the prosecutors of the January 6 cases be investigated. And I just want to say a word about the men and women who come today every day in the United States Department of Justice. You know, I was the United States Attorney for the District of Connecticut. As a number of us have been prosecutors in the federal system, I was also a state attorney general. They come to work every day seeking justice. They have an ethos and tradition for the person who is going to be head of the largest United States Attorney's office in the nation and who has responsibility for prosecuting federal crimes that affect the whole nation, to say that the ones to be investigated and prosecuted are the assistant U.S. attorneys who brought criminal charges against the January 6 rioters, I think betrays the entire ethos and norms of the Department of Justice. It undermines, literally, justice in the United States. She ought to be asked what she meant when she was asked on a radio show by a guest who said January 6 prosecutors should be, quote, criminally investigated. And she said, quote, I absolutely agree with that. She's failed to disavow that position. She's failed to answer questions that we've posed in written requests for information to her about remarks that she's made in the past. We need to do our job here, Mr. Chairman. We have a responsibility to scrutinize those kinds of responses and to have her testify. And likewise, with Mr. Beauvais, a lot more unanswered questions. I submitted yesterday a letter to the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, asking for results of the investigation done of a case supervised by Mr. Beauvais, finding very serious wrongdoing on the part of some of his subordinates and perhaps holding him responsible for them. The Office of Professional Responsibility concluded an investigation. We've had no access to it. He ought to be asked about it. Likewise, the whistleblower who came forward and others who have indicated they have information ought to be questioned by us in public, under oath. We have a job to do here. We should do our job. We should scrutinize these nominees with the kind of fairness, but also intensity that is part of our mandate, because the judgeships are lifetime and the prosecutors are enormously powerful. I always felt that the most important decisions I made as a prosecutor were whether to charge someone, because charges can follow people throughout their lives, impact them financially and reputationally. And she is going to command an office of hundreds of attorneys who will be bringing charges and perhaps devastatingly affect the lives of individuals, as well as clearly a responsibility to uphold the public interest in enforcing the law. I think we ought to be delving into their backgrounds by continuing our fact-finding in this committee rather than going forward with her today.
Senator
Thank you.
Booker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think if I have my